Dominika, welcome to Empower Networks TV. You got me there? All right. Well, welcome here. And thanks, Cindy, for inviting Dominika. Dominika, well, where would you like to begin? I heard a bit of your story on First Date, our networking
Right.
events. Yeah. So where would you like the interview to begin with? Your story of how you've come to do what you do, or an overarch of what you currently offer in the world?
I think my story is more important because it shows how our society teaches our certain standards, and we have this belief that we should all over ourselves, should be a certain way. And I was one of those people. I was, living in Poland at that time. I was extremely successful working with the president, working with prime ministers, European Union, speaking on big stages, advising CEOs on career changes. I was just out there. And everybody who looked from the outside was going, wow, she is just killing it. She's so powerful. She's all this. And I would come home and cry every night. I would literally come home and cry every night. I created mechanisms to protect me from getting hurt. And I had this belief that men are just terrible, that they're just awful and they're useless, which showed up in the way I presented myself in the world. I was more masculine than Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, and all of them put together. I was just this powerhouse. And even, if you look on my private Instagram, I'm still called the Domi Powerhouse. That stayed, but I do like that name. At the same time, I was miserable, unhappy, super lonely, very aggressive, and nothing matched. I was sitting there, I'm going like, this cannot be life. On top of that, we can add rape, gun to my head, getting my son dying, getting married, getting divorced, raising twins on your own. You ask, I've done it. So I was sitting there one day, I woke up and I'm like, this isn't it. Like life cannot be about this. This just doesn't work. And that's when the journey started. And it was a very long journey, and it still is. Although now we're doing the tweaking instead of the working, which actually is much more challenging because, when you're doing the big work, you have the big changes and it's so exciting. You see the huge difference. And now you don't see those huge differences. They're little tiny things, but those improvements make all the difference. And I ended up going through reading books, the stage of reading books. I read every book in that was handed to me or I found or was recommended to me. And at one point I got to a moment where I'm like, well, okay, the books are great. And what's next? So, because, when you hoard that knowledge and you do nothing with it, you're still in the same place. I mean, you know what to do, but you're not doing it. There was no transition from knowing into doing. So the next step was getting myself a therapist. That was a bad idea. I know that there are great therapists in the world. I just didn't end up with one. And then I run into somebody who was calling themselves a coach. Like this weird thing in Poland, 16 or 17 years ago, nobody ever heard of it. And she changed my life. She literally changed my life. And she was the first coach I had. And since then, I never stopped having coaches and started growing. And I stopped coaching the CEOs on their life transitions because I was like, well, it's not giving anything, not changing anything in the world. I want to make a difference. I want this world to be a better place. And they're just getting another six-figure job. Great for them. And that's not enough. That's not my purpose. So then, the events started going to Tony Robbins live events. Now I get to crew his events quite often. I get to do a lot of things, but I run into, after about 13 years of working on me, I run into Dr. Amen and Joseph McClendon that they're doing a program together. And mind you, I'm science-based. I believe in energy. I believe in the universe and higher power, that we're part of something bigger, but religion per se is not my thing. And that was just amazing because they gave me the knowledge and the science that I needed, that I loved, that I could say what I'm doing, there is science behind. Because when I would speak to my other coaches, they would go, well, it just works. but why? Like, why does it work? I want, and I was at the stage of now, after going through this program, I have the privilege to train. Well, I was one of the pod leads for Joseph McClendon, where I had the privilege to lead and support new coaches. I have the privilege to be supporting Dr. Amen coaches. I am able to use science and everything around me to support you. And what's even more beautiful is that all of my clients leave me within 6 months. They don't need me anymore. And I am so proud of that and so devastated because I love them. I dearly love them, but they don't need me. They literally don't need me. They do come back, when life throws a curveball. So that's another beautiful thing. And what I love about what I do that is so different than everybody else is that I do not demonize medicine. We've been trained in a way that we will do absolutely everything without medication if possible. But if I see you're not making progress and you're going the other direction, I'm not going to say, oh, drink another orange juice. I'm going to say, go to a doctor, get yourself put together, leveled with the knowledge that I don't have, and come back to me, because the goal is to stabilize you and then get you off the medication. That's Dr. Amen's approach, which I absolutely love. So we merge those two things, meaning that to be honest, our medicine is amazing. Yes, is it abused? Absolutely. Do we pop pills like crazy? Absolutely. Yet, if this wasn't an achievement in our history of our humanity, we're living up to 80, 90, 100 now on average. We used to live on average up to the age of 40. Nobody knew about menopause because women didn't live that long. So there's no way to study something. You didn't live to that age. Now we do. We have that privilege. So I believe in both. I'm epileptic. Without the medication I take, there's nothing in the natural homeopathic rewiring of your brain, neuroscience, that can stop my seizures besides medication. But because of what I know, instead of 2,000 units of medication, I take 500 units of medication. And after about 25 years, I'm totally off antidepressants because I don't need them anymore, because I was able to rewire my brain with the help of coaches that I've hired. And that's the goal. That's the goal, to give you whatever you need to thrive. And the type of coaching I do is just life-changing for those who choose to change their life. Very often, I actually turn my clients away. And not because I don't like them, it's because they don't need me. See, one of the things that Dr. Amen taught us is to look at blood work. We look at your blood work because if you're not producing neurotransmitters in your gut, I cannot rewire your brain, because there are no building blocks. You can't build a house without bricks, can you? You can't build anything without proper elements. And people forget that very often we feel down and depressed. And don't get me wrong, depression is quite complex. It's not one reason. But one of the things we do need to check is, do you have in your bloodstream every building block that's needed for you to feel good? Because maybe it's not the depression, it's just your malnutrition and you're not producing the neurotransmitters. Now, honestly, depression, there's many more things, but it's good to check, because sometimes, and it does happen to me, that, I go, okay, do this blood work, come back to me, we'll see how it works. We see some things are missing. Okay, let's optimize it and put it at the optimum, not the norm. That's a very big difference. And when they do, they go, well, you know what? I feel great. I'm like, I thought you might.
Wow.
And
Wow. You're fire hosing us with value, Dr. D. Coach D. Sorry, I'm just
Coach,
gonna call you.
I'm not
I just want to
really-
call you a doctor. Okay, so you said something I want to hit like 5 minutes ago. You said, my clients leave me in 6 months. And you said that's a good thing. Can you just unpack that a bit? Because some people will be like, how is that a good thing? Why is that a good thing?
So I had to work through that with myself, because, getting a client, especially that we work in an area where people just don't go around saying, hi, I got a depression, looking for help. Usually they're hiding, they're not communicating that. So the truth is that our job is to give people tools, teach them, rewire them, help them, and let them go. If they need you more than a year, because there are some traumatic experiences that might need a little bit longer. There are. But if you're working with a client 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, are you really doing your job? It's kind of like keeping somebody in a first grade forever.
Oh, I
That's
like that. I like that. Okay, keep going. I'm just shutting up. You keep going. What else? You give us more. You've given us such great value already.
so another thing that I absolutely love is that you're not a coach for everything, and you cannot be coaching on everything. I do not coach on things I have not went through. I do not coach on things that I cannot prove with my clients and my life that this is doable. So, if you're a veteran, I have phenomenal coaches that if you have trauma coming from being in the war, I will refer you there. I have no clue how to be in a war. I had a wonderful client that was looking for support in some areas of his life that I was able to support him. And then out of the blue, he goes, you know what? I really want to learn how to be a man. I have no clue how to be a man. Like, none whatsoever. I can see how I perceive men, but it's only my perception. You need a man who has achieved mastery in that and being masculine, open, vulnerable. I'm happy to refer you out. And we actually ended sessions. I said, look, if this is what you need, then I cannot help you as me, but I have resources for you where you get to choose a coach that's going to be great for you. And that man did come back to me with other things later on. But at that point in time, it is so important to serve them. And yes, is it temporarily less income for you? Yes. But long term, it comes back tenfold because people trust you that what you're saying, what you're preaching is true. And you're not there to get their money, just to get their money, but you're really there to serve them. Does it take longer to build a business like this? Yes, it does. Is it more frustrating? Yes, it is. Is it, do you have moments that you're going to give up every 5 minutes? Yes, you do. That is why you need a phenomenal community that will support you and will put on the glasses or borrow their glasses when you don't see it in you that you can push through. See, even I fell into this trap in Europe, in Poland, where I used to live. When I did what I did for so many years with so many connections, I would go, hi, I have 2 spots open. And I would have a line of people saying, I want it, right? Because it was career coaching. And I had only a few spots every time I coached. And I thought, this comes with you. It doesn't. I had to build everything from scratch. And lack of control, lack of being wanted. It's my ego that was talking. It took me a while to go, okay, well, how can they know what I provide has so much value if nobody knows that I exist? See, you can have the best product in the world, but if nobody knows what you're doing, it's kind of hard to sell. They might not even know, you need it. And we are selling. Now, is it typical selling? No. So I overestimated what I could do in a year. And so many young entrepreneurs do that. We think we're just going to be in a year and we compare it to our previous income. That's so important when you're a new coach. You compare it to what you left. So I have this young lady that I coached for quite a while, about 4 months. And she was like, but I'm not making that money. And I'm like, how much did you make? She goes, well, 150K. And she's now an interior designer, beautiful designs. And I'm like, fantastic. So when did you start in that career? She goes, well, 12 years ago. I'm like, so how many years did it take you to get to 150K? And she took a breath. She goes, 12 years. I'm like, interesting. So is it possible that you doing this for 4 months might not be equivalent to the 12 years and the relationships that you had and the things that you built, the things that you learned? She's like, yeah. She overestimated what she could do in a year. She assumed she will substitute her income. I'm not saying it's impossible, but most of us don't do that. Most of us are not able to substitute our income within a year compared to where we were. And a lot of people start businesses when they were at their height, when they were making a lot of money and they feel, okay, I'm great. I know all these people. I get to do this. Well, this is a different world. Now you will have all those hats that you're going to put on. And guess what? You're not great at all those hats, because in that company, you had somebody selling you, you had somebody supporting you in IT, you had somebody doing marketing, you had somebody doing the secretarial work, you had somebody printing the materials, checking how the spelling works. Here, you don't at the beginning.
True.
And what's beautiful about it is that when you learn how to manage your expectations, you actually start to thrive because the frustration is gone. So that was my flaw, something that I've learned. And I keep reminding myself, hey, I've been doing this only for a short period of time, and I'm doing great because I've achieved, I compare myself to self for progress and self to others for inspiration.
Oh, I love that. I don't know where that came from, but that is effing gold. Can you say it again? Can you say it again?
Compare myself to self for progress and self for others to others for inspiration.
I love that. All right, so who do you want to connect with here? Dominika, Coach D, who is your favorite kind of person to connect with? People that are going to see this and they may want to be friends or jaded with you or be clients of yours. Like, who is your ideal avatar? Someone that you go, that's my kind of person.
My kind of person is who lives according to their values, and that's not negotiable. My kind of person is who wants to build and merge different services where we can provide two types of, and we can do collaborate together. My type of person is a person who is suffering with anxiety, PTSD, depression, self-doubt, self-loathing, imposter syndrome, aggression, brain fog, anger management, ADHD, because funny enough, most people with ADHD don't have ADHD. It's actually out of the thousands and thousands that are being diagnosed every day, maybe 10% of them actually do have ADHD. It's rewiring of your brain that's necessary. So that's another group. And people who just want to collaborate or be friends and empower each other, because you know what? I have bad days. I really do. And they suck. And, you know, being in that perimenopause thing, that's even worse. The whole world looks like it's collapsing, and it's not, but it does look like that. And you need people who will grab you out of that little pit hole and say, hey, we got you. It's going to last only a few days. We got you. You can do this. So these are my people, and whoever resonates with me. If you feel I can bring value to your life, if you think you want to learn from me, or you want to work with me or be my client, whichever it is, whatever you think, if I resonate with you, please feel free to reach out. I'm very happy to open my doors and have a chat and get on a Zoom and see if there is a spark on both sides.
I love it. You are a powerhouse, Coach T. Wow. I'm so glad that you're here. If you've been listening, watching to Empower Network TV today, Dominika, Coach D, is live in the house, and she would love to connect with you. If you have any links you can drop, Dominika, after I tag you in the Facebook, please do. And you said something else I want to hit. You, before we sign off, you said, you know, it's about staying, I'll paraphrase, but staying in your lane. And I tried coaching. I wasn't good at it because I'm not wired to be a coach. I love marketing and sales. Love it. That's why I built this container. I love it when coaches like you just show up and just do what you just did, because you drew out of this deep well of decades of experience and lessons and pain and joy and learning, and you just gave us your gold because you're excellent at this. And so I love it when people just, what you said, stay in their lane, do what they're good at, let others, for example, that want to be in sales and marketing or other things, show up as in excellence as best they know how, so that you guys as coaches can shine. Because there's so many coaches, as you said earlier, that need help from other coaches. That's what have shocked me in this community, is I'm seeing all these coaches do business now with each other because they got these areas of need, because they're good at one or two or three things. But like you said, Dominika, they're not good at this or this or this, and they need help from other coaches. So You just put it succinctly. Thank you.
It was an absolute pleasure. And you know what? One last thing I'm going to leave you with, and that's probably going to rattle some cages. I'm a firm believer that most of us do not need a why that makes us cry. I believe that you do not need to burn your boats to be successful. I believe that you can dream big, act small, and be successful. And there is a way to do it. And there is magic in loving the process, loving the small achievements, and stacking that and becoming the best version of yourself without a revolution, without the big woohoo. And I'm going to kill my job, stop doing everything. This is one thing I'm going to do. There are ways to do it. And I am so happy to share that information in the upcoming book next year, because nobody ever wrote about how you can dream big, act small, and achieve success.
Beautiful. That's what we're going to entitle this. Love it. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being your brilliant self, Dominika. Wow, you're a powerhouse of positivity. Any last closing remarks before we sign off?
Every day is the beginning of your life. Choose wisely. And if you're in hell, keep walking, because even hell has a border.
There you go. Okay. If you've been watching, listening to Empower Network TV today, Dominika, please reach out to her. Let her know what you appreciate in the comments. Connect with her. She'd like to connect with you. Dominika, you blessed me this morning. Thank you from my heart to yours. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay, we'll chat soon.